many cases, exhibitors have come from almost all corners of Ghana and outside Ghana and have maximized their sales and revenues. This expo is a fantastic platform for us to connect with businesses, investors, and entrepreneurs from around the world. It is a chance for us to learn from each other and explore new opportunities. I invite you all to explore our region's exhibits and products, meet our entrepreneurs and innovators, and discover the many opportunities Central Region has to offer. We look forward to working with you and building a higher future together. For more inquiries, please call the Secretariat 0246 48 8830. Thank you and welcome to Central Expo 2025. My name is Honorable Eduamwa Ekopein Oche, Central Regional Minister, and I welcome you to Central Region.
Right, Mama covered or you agree. Mama, you dead, and the critical good, you agree on the toilet telephone. No, as the don't cook us a bonnet to us. I don't hear you can crack that in the young whole song. I was if you want to come and I shall compare to Mr. Woodson or to my boy, and that's a more if you want to. There was a kind of funny to the member if you know about cancer. I should work as a you know you my West Africa Civil Society Institute. Was the Museum, but I don't know and how about a motion of Wotu to Mezilisi Omar bin Abdallah. Pay for Fia, but don't see. Name one chunk one, and she there, and I'm ready to meet you. The man I'm married to you, a Bobo Museum to our claim. It can't come with the home Roberta Atuna Abwa, while your constant TV, our mother, if you do it, or you may say easy. Already, that's a you die was not about the Eba. Common Cape, and a whole was in the future. It's in my focus and for in the Costa TV. That's all we are remember what show to us. Right, we are back. And say you are a Rabba member and a assistant programs manager. Knowledge. Yes, member. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah,
yeah, and say maybe our master and you are Nancy Kusi. Yes, Nancy Kusi, so you are a program officer, the same organization. Nancy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Alright. Your body, Gideon, yes, Gideon. And also your programs assistant communication. Aben I am going to museum come baza Gideon is I know nti wo fie ha bobon komo fiti ebe o meyi ni yetu ezuke na ya share the obotum no obisi no want me sinara baz in obotum no. So we start from neighbor your organization as a West African Civil Society Institute. Why this organization behind your work?
So, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Basically, the West Africa Civil Society Institute, WACSI, was established in 2007. So, this year we'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary. It was established in 2005, became operational in 2007. So, this year we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. So, as a civil society organization, our mandate is to strengthen the capacities of other civil society organizations. And the objective is towards ensuring a more prosperous West Africa. So we focus on building the capacities of these organizations in terms of their organizational, their institutional, and their technological capacities. So whatever activities we carry out are towards ensuring that these civil society organizations in the next 10-15 years would remain sustainable. So our objective is towards ensuring that at the end of the day, these organizations are sustainable. So whatever capacity strengthening we need to provide so that in the next 5 to 8 years, these organizations would continue to exist and carry out the activities that they're supposed to carry out.
So how many organizations are you working with?
That's
a very difficult.
That's a very difficult question because we've existed for 20 years and within this period we've worked with so many different organizations in different countries, and if you're looking at even the organizations just in Ghana, I think we're working with maybe over 50, or I can't really give a specific number. Yeah, but if we're looking at least we've worked with not less than 2,000 organizations, because it's West Africa and we're not just focusing in West Africa, now we are broadening to other countries in Africa, even though our mandate was initially to focus on West Africa.
Maybe you mention of building their capacity. We have many in terms of building somebody's capacity.
Yes.
We have communication is part of capacity.
Yes.
We have so many. So can you give us some common one which we are building the capacity we are talking about?
Yes, and I'm going to use even just the reason why we are present here today, right? So you remember I mentioned that all of these our activities are geared towards sustainability. So we are looking at, especially given the current landscape with the dwindling donor funding and all of that. So we are looking at how do these organizations leverage homegrown solutions. So we have initiatives around local fundraising, around resource mobilization. We have initiatives around mobilizing support. That's ensuring that these organizations are able to liaise with their communities, with their respective government institutions within their communities. We have even issues around communications. We train organizations on how to tell their stories, because there's this narrative that most organizations are telling stories based on what donors want them to tell. But we are also teaching these organizations to tell stories based on their experiences. We have other trainings around different forms of resource mobilization, so alternative funding models, how organizations can leverage other forms of funding in order to also ensure, again, towards their sustainability. I can list 1,000 of them, but it's going to mean that my colleagues might not.
I'll come back to you. Gideon, may you share maybe the which much is a mean, I don't know. Zayit me, it's a Mr. Domino. It's a match on Madachi to know our work, an organization to move, and there would say BB, it's my mate to me to each other. Yes, I hate him.
Medase said the miniano a kind on all kind of photocasm, but maybe I can castle. Yeah, the tennis say organizations now, you're so one saying to the be on meeting, you know, having no waiting in demand. Do na I fan or support no if you feel and you may you for fro, a be one man on it, it is more Ghana. Our models are support no ever. On the stop was your saying, say they be to me. I build capacity, say or can or put a custom, maybe to me. asha won den e training won no etimi e deliver on their mandate said the won botaya esi won ani so no said be on betimi adi hu dwuma enti aya enwuma ko bebre ana omune wasi enya nkabom a omune edi dwuma a omoso ya sen said be ya betimi enso betimi aso NGOs and I say kuku kitwa e West Africa mu ha no say betimi so aso ma sen enti nyaade a mpempi no mo na also omutua wasiska ana say omuma wasi bibi ansa na yetimi aso wansen ana moa no fi adwuma nko bebre ana omune WACSI edijuma.
Yesterday Matu Mukua when Shabbos, when we talk about NGOs or whatever, or you call when Shabbos and say, Manson over the Utumus of Nijuma. More Kunibi, he sent a Wassan Utumum, and then the man or whatever Utum search the Moshe, or the West African, whatever, Nephi Mutum, one, and a one or
say say, Medasipanzo Oka say, was all out to mom say, Obeshe, WACSI Jumaku no na opportunities na kwanya bebra ye wo no so betimi de wo ahyem na mpepi no WACSI adwumaku baako yentimi emfeye ni hwe entoa bebre mu ne sante no se wate adwumaku bi a enhya banase na opese unya opese WACSI be so wasen e wo se obebuild your capacities a eno ade a obe ni se wo se wohwehwe WACSI akiri kwan betimi akọ abefo ntentankanse no so no akọ search for WACSI West Africa Civil Society Institute mpepi no aya na ye de akwanya bebre eto ntetakese ene so a obi abetimi akwakohwe wohwe na se wani gye ho na opese won so wonya bibi film a won so betimi apply ana so betimi atwa application ama WACSI na hwe nkrata mu na se udi mu bibia eto yie a na se yenso yetimi no ediduma
If you Edumokua, I'm going to shab and I say, now some what Edumokua, I'm going to shab and I say, I was every individual, one side of the able to mount to Oku, Nidana, the Conaba for the able to now, to which one, I had to papa, and if you are not to me, to connect nephew or to know I'm going to be wise, but it takes that's young Shade. The Dominic now to motion, then maybe to make or doors onto one now we had was a West Africa, don't doors. If you cry Ghana, don't know what you win here, you man, to more doors for Baba. Yes, you could what so in fear to 20 years out of snow. Yes, you Doma or your organizations of we here, more Ghana, more pagan, because you organization you are, which is Canada, you won't see them, and they have one more second there, you won't see them. You're sure there, and then you would have money, and can or would you visit, and then you don't cry, go Adam.
With us, the real is city in Jumano. A paper, you know, was Katia, and no to a normal, I knew to a normal query. It's a debia, Oka, Yekuno. It's in Mokona, your bow. Na ye boa se de be ya wadwuma na wo ye betimi ato aso aye akodro bi na dare de nyina no so benya mmoa ene toboa efri afoforo ho aba otimi ato wadwuma so ti dwuma ko no na se de dwuma ko bi a woni WACSI aye dwuma bi a oda so eye dwuma oda so nyoma eye strong minia no eta se ye boa wo mo ewo omo said the bay or Monshire, said the bay or Mokrata Sen, said the bay or Musika Sen, said the bay a Jumabia may own bravo. A pine banner as a Jumapoor, I won't share by and so that to one more ye. Said the bay a Nipano Pana or tea a Jumapono, or new one man a Jumapono dasso, it's not an asso. Tisana yet, Sana yet say, Sana a bois a Jumapona, a year Juman. It's Adam said the beer is a poor money as from na the pumpy no agent say or more big to me at Snase, I will make you Marco Sierra. You must say a Jubilee beer from my age, and what that's what that's so enormous to dink it. Your name Jumaco Honma, Ebia 2005, and I started almost 30 years, Jumana 2010. Ever two campaigns
the man will reach me, boy. Yes, the name is a Nasi. Young Shade, me believe Juma. Woman, Rabba Kamebushin. About the Mutum, you know, monitoring you do the monitoring. But as time goes on monthly basis, weekly basis, or yearly basis, or quarterly basis, or more short reports about another year born when Yes.
It's the way you see one, a different. It's but I can say, yes, that's it, near Bawanaso. Your Bawanaso, I know bedroom common, near who in your man looking at one. And they were doing a chrono, baby, I took your man, would Jane say, your boy, ever boy. It's ye became winning in area, nay, I started, wow. It's in them more family trading. It's in me, beer, on Catasen, and ACC, no one knows the other one on Catasen this young. Near you way in a jaw, and my own was say, oh, yeah, be. The young be a friend will say, one-on-one coaching. It's in the area way in area. Your pop, ye, Yatana, ye, be a year, you know, Maya. You may say, oh, why me a frown, you know, your pop, near the south say, and no more air person. Yeah, you know, again, the town will be a female, and your man person, you do a home man, oh, yeah, a coye, I'll be to me a catcher, and yes, soon be a fountain. And I be poor home, oh, yeah, but I'll coye. Now, a deal to me bit to me, young fountain, and dear, they bit to me, so I am an apple. And look it up, when you're in a car, say, you will never crown, and no more a baby. A more, a good boy, a Jumacua, or I say, since 2022. And so, still, yet that's so edu bechi, yet that's so normal now, yet that's so efferon, yet that's so check say, Bibia equally. It is Anna, yet you better. I can say, Akara, Penia or Abofra, or Beshana, Bibiano or check it, say, Bibia, Etoto, Namping. It is Anna, yet never back, Popena, Yajao. Because you wouldn't say, any back, Papa, any pana is your calling, changing your Pocasaya. If you know a free Germany. Into so a free Germany, my ever son, a Jumano, empty me, Jinan, and sweet. It's a dining day now, you know, or more, if you get some.
Right, actually, I'm not sure. Young sure, I email is here, I said, when it is ready, let me know. Maybe, let's see this. We have community engagement when we are about to do some projects. At times, when somebody wrote or organization wrote to your organization that he or she needs help, did you do any community engagement or any leadership meeting before you become certified that this organization, we are going to partner with them? Or immediately, on my organization, when I wrote to my organization, quickly, whatever I need, and you will give it to me.
Okay, so we usually don't work directly with the communities. We work with the communities through other organizations. And for every initiative that we are about to carry out, we usually send out a call so that organizations can apply. So it's open to all organizations, but then we do a short listing. And that is based on what the organization, what they are interested in, their motivation and their dedication to every initiative. So that influences how we work with these organizations. And even when we go through the selection process, for those organizations that we end up selecting, we always do what we call a needs assessment. And this is to be able to understand the areas of need of this organization. Because I cannot just come to you and tell you that I want to train you on this. It might not align with what you need. So we do a needs assessment. And that needs assessment helps us understand the areas of needs of these various organizations. So it's based on the needs assessment now that we would offer these trainings. So we don't just, yes, we would partner with you, but there are bases on which we would partner with you. We don't want to be carrying out initiatives that don't align with your objective. It has to align with your objective, but it also has to align with our objectives. Because the only way that we can actually work together is when we are on a common ground. So this needs assessment is what establishes the common ground. So we know that we are delivering based on your need, and you would also, at the end of the day, there's also the plan for the initiative to continue, even when we are no longer part of the team. So we focus on partnering with them and not necessarily just having transactional relationships with these organizations.
Talking about partnership, you are talking about what the needs assessment you do. Any or all the organizations have a different motive what is working.
Yeah.
Some are into sanitation, some into health, some into education, and many others. So, do you select them, or if my organization are into health, I wrote to you or I read to you, you accept and support my organization. Secondly, did you check the age in terms of that organization started, or any age at all? Tomorrow, then I can get something. Or today, if I finish everything, I can get something. Or did you check the year limit or whatever? Okay,
so with the first question, WACSI is a non-thematic organization. We are not focusing on building capacities in specific areas per se, but we understand that for an organization to exist, there are some basic things that every organization must have. You must be able to operate, and for you to operate as an organization, there are certain things you must have. Finances, your finances must be in order. That's not an aspect that is peculiar to specific organizations. Irrespective of your thematic area of focus, your financial systems will have to be in place. Your technological systems will have to be in place. If we are talking about budgeting, every organization has to do those things. So we focus on those institutional aspects, the organizational aspects, those key areas that every organization needs to in order to be able to grow. So you realize that if you take the health sector, even if you're working in health, as an organization that works in health, at the end of the year or at the beginning of every year, you would have to do a budget. At the end of the year, you would have to do a report on all of those things. So it's non-thematic. We are not focusing on these themes per se, but on institutional capacity strengthening. Then with respect to the second question on the age, yes. So yes, we look at all of these things, but we are not very peculiar as to whether you have existed for 20 years or if you've existed for 3 years or if you've existed for 1 year. What matters most, again, is whether the two organizations align, whether your initiatives align with what we can offer, and whether we are the organization to provide that capacity strengthening to you. So we have had organizations we've worked with that are 1 year, they have existed for 1 year. But we've also partnered with organizations that have existed for over 20 years. So the age of existence of the organization is not necessarily a priority. As long as you're able to comply with the requirements, we are open to work with you as an organization.
Gideon, remember, maybe I'll do your question. Gideon, you should remember I mentioned a high man, a high office. Maybe I will do a report today, or we share them all of a sudden, Bibia, nothing there. You can't trace anything. The contacts, everything lost. Have you encountered that?
Question as I'm so beside the head, can you? And the cranny say, Sabe Pepe, idea, and pain go on a ma. It's me, need my duty, a dink it on. Said the okay, ya, so much also your office will have say, maybe we come and crack. We wish your man, no say, oh, send on money office, be na, maybe I can home. The moment that about quite and say, what's in so ye, Edmacubia, the credit, Munya, ye pa. The Juma dear Munina, and you perceive who say, the credit, Pepe, our honor pefe. It is a cobassa. Now a man might be your say. I been say per se a boy, name say, no credit now, quay sana, Anna a Tom Ribiana, a dinkakra. It's the infant say, the any family share a fufra or my dino cray. Because an amontoni bitu, name see chassis and no credit the kind ya. This is a dinkakra say or say, yet me consider our organization. Because a fufra be brave, we hear say one, our modern credit a young meduma. In the send me bonny toffano, make us say, and crack. Name woman, you ever catch a queer organ in West Africa, say, our Mosha by singing, say, no credit, and win yapa. Emma BBM, and it's only was in Subay Jumana. I was so many credit, Eddie winning kind. This America.
You know, the man of work, it's a young yeah, don't go there. Man, I bet you live in a few years. Now, somehow, I'll come to Nancy. Nancy, look at the setup of our CEO and let us see your coming. You know them.
No, I don't know.
So it means that dear work be Nancy, about there, the main gave me to tomorrow. And now, Fantasca, you are able to see a genuine attempt at you, the only is in common. The man I am tomorrow accountable. But yes, share the what to the ways why you be able to be able to me. The man's and then baby out to move.
Oh, and yet, baby, I look be an OC who is sissy. Was baby or one of my poor partner be in Naswa. Partner baby or more young Juma, or honor or more because it's or money or more a Juma or more share a GI and she'll say in India any Habain to Sotia every we are saying or more a making sure say it's yes a purpose shower or what you call baby on the Juma. It's on the phone, my name can be and the normal thing it and see baby how best say we know where the book it down. It will be so better and say, Yabano, to say the minion can look at the here. And yet, as you may cook it to a piano, it's me in your home, it's me no more Biaya, you bet me, and no machine. It says, O may not be Ayana, it will be a suya a Biaya for fry. A bad boy in you, gaining an associate in the Asian, baby, who to set here, a dark, so they told me to say, you're better now. It's obvious that baby,
Right, that's the baby. Let's see the second one, MCA. Then you said, maybe a baby man. I said, more baby, you know him. Fine. That's Gideon and Nancy. Yes, let's move ahead. They are busy on their laptops. That shows that they are putting their report together. Then let's move ahead, please. Your name, Sister Mebe. Your name. Well, we have no. There's another picture there, so please try to get it for me. She's ready to answer. Yeah, you know. You know her?
I think so.
Yeah, I know her.
She looks familiar. She looks very familiar.
Looking at the communication we have in terms of what we are doing, community training or whatever, like what we did today, that shows that in case when you attend to a certain organization, they don't give you much attention about whatever you need. Did that make you sad in terms of working with them? Or have you experienced this before since you started working with us?
That's a very interesting question. I don't think we have really had occasions where the organization has not given us the full attention. So it's different when it's a training that you're bringing together so many people and you have to train them. That's different. There will be one or two people who might not be very much attentive to what you're doing. But in a situation where it's a one-on-one visit with the organizations are not, we don't have very many staff in many of these organizations. So it's difficult for you not to get the full attention. And I also think that it's also based on the kind of conversation that you have with these organizations that would determine a lot. So there's the issue around co-creation. What we have learned over the years is that the contexts within organizations are different. So we avoid the clustering of organizations together, especially when we are going around with issues around documenting success stories. We avoid clustering the organizations together because we've learned over the years that sometimes, in as much as challenges might be similar, there are certain specific differences that if you don't engage with these organizations one-on-one, you might not really get from them. So we've not really had a challenge where the organizations are not paying attention. And even the experience of today, you realize that you gave us your attention. If we were having this conversation through Zoom, I'm not sure you would have been paying attention to us the way you were paying attention to us. So I'm just using this as an example. Oh yes, oh yes. We've witnessed both the online and the in-person conversations. They are usually not the same.
So which one do you like most?
Obviously, the in-person conversation. The stories that we've heard from Coastal TV today, we would never have heard if we had this conversation online. I'm not sure we would have heard them.
So how many percent will you give us in terms of percentage when you are ranking?
Percentage in terms of the stories you've told us?
What are you discussing today?
92.
What are you doing with the
There was one person who was silent.
All right, that's good. Guido, you shared there, and then where you to me, maybe over. I hope we know how you do about them and maybe to tomorrow. You need to resume me. You tell them what I could baby, my hearing you know that this people part in that you won't be able to do because someone could be again, but still be back. Yet to your face, the main
like I said, Nidikano, yes, Yako places baby honoma, yenya positive, yenya, say, the event say, Omuni story, a positive name, the woman say, WACSI no, your homa will be bia. Said them, Minian Kayan, Ubia ne how, said the etie. And he said, the Yako baby, a almost story, and I say, and a moment to know, and the impuntu or mania or mujuma dimuno, and say down con kind be braino, and high and cry because you him say, Obiani de wea, Nanamon to no, and Yamrika too, Obiani anyhow, and a Obians in the Quancrobe Faswa, Kakaka cra. I was actually the other day, Boconeso, or what could do baby, aha, Obidian Micabeko, Obiso de Brebro, but only now could do baby, yeah, corner. Enti say story na ewa akote no se bia enye positive to say of fraud ya e na nkyere say ye were ekoho na mum de tie ne say me esua ne ma enti mpempi ne no mu ahwehwem say ade be na betimi aye na say anamoto be betimi atu a omo so betimi aye den afom ntuma pa fra no mo so atumpon enti eno ne the stories ne de ti bebre e be good e be nsunye so good. But on the day, you know, idea and say a bow no be to me to an amount with me at one with me a form to my pie day. Efra, Jenny dear, make us say, and high in preparation, sir.
That's it. Yes, gender balance or huge mediation. You want many organizations so high, one leadership in myself, those of our women's and for those. Do you consider all these things? Are there? Yeah, so I can't call them good things. So from doors and from doors, me so does that. Do you consider the gender balance?
Yes. I'm not sure I'm moving now. So we need to look at it. The opportunity me to go. So to be a probably and a person, almost person on the return. It's only so I share, and you know, and they will more we know we do. So the way I ever go in the course so a man, any women and children. And if you put more on so or more to Maconi or more no year, you dear women in Iama, but almost so every or Piamon Faso at so or more ye. It's no area consider, said the Bay, in Mukua member, a dear anymore. Yes, I saw so born in the farm to dear. Now, Obia to me, Enya. Academia will be here at the Ion.
No, see, Master said, you may say, Abra, maybe I guess, or can be a Sasach, in fear, you know. So if you don't know, Oba, into my Badestami, Wayne, or senior high or go to put away people who are to know you. But your occasion he will just see in Kuakura, ye born, what to my boy be, my quay, such a story with more cacao, or they are going to mean the name or to me, I have no tomorrow, or ye to me, the man than us.
In fact, you will be you will be now. Never opinions so I catch a man for say, or share in social media pages in November, you better celebrate in 20 years. Now you better in some baby, you better stories baby. In you may go organ a higher ball, even central region passing. You may go baby or all ma, ya ball more, or matter than city. Ama, ye juma ye, na debiano, or more kind to ye juma, bakubia ya boa, a juma said a bay on Betsy and Sika and resources. Are supporting our work in the field of philanthropy. Abua Ebumakobe, because if we say a Jumake to an Aisha Banasan, and it will be our most pathetic fra, Sika sem any more adding some Sabeka. Until no, ye will a program be a boa or more, a training or more, quite better to a more, and you may hear a CCC, or more Abanati Council, or meeting me and a from our boa. Na abua jumako bebre ama se say no almost so do ye call ye do mu nyina ehia na ye fra fa no so e kire omu nua no enyo mo ma ya abua wo mu omu nua no so ntimi e de emphasize point so.
Never. Coming back to you, I want to know you receive proposals or whatever the type of writing they brought into your organization. After some people doesn't qualify to work with WACSI, did you read them back or there's no communication, nothing goes on, or you call them that, oh, due to 1, 2, 3, we cannot support you for the time being, maybe next time. Do you do that or just put the proposal aside and consider those who are maybe okay with you in terms of your organization?
Okay, I'm going to first of all use myself as an example, right? So usually when you send out an application, say you're applying for a job, right, and you're not shortlisted, as an individual, you're expecting that at least you should be given updates on what you did not do right or what you did right so that you can also improve on that. But sometimes we also fail to understand that sometimes these applications come in thousands, sometimes in hundreds of thousands, and you cannot give every person specific feedback based on their submission, which is understandable because it's going to mean that you need to employ another 100 people to follow up with this. But you realize that in organizations, this is usually a challenge. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this to also make us understand that, yes, in as much as we want to provide individual feedback, sometimes it is challenging. So I would not say a no or a yes as a response to your question, but I would say it depends on the number of applications that have been received. If it's a small cohort, it's easy to send out individual responses to each of the organizations that applied and say, this is the area you didn't work well, this is what you did well, this is what you can do better. But when it's a large cohort, the most we can do is just say that due to some reasons we were not able to shortlist, but it doesn't mean that the relationship ends here. WACSI is always open. When there are other opportunities, we still share with them with the hope that at the end of the day, we can at least have had the opportunity to reach out to all or most of the organizations that have reached out to us with respect to their different areas of interest. So it's, in as much as it's something we would love to do, it's a little challenging when we have a large number of organizations coming in. So with the smaller cohorts, we will try as much as possible to specific responses. But with large numbers, it's difficult.
That's maybe for you. You know, you should me mental organization there. Me, what's some form of as individual, me Bambwa, can I write directly to WACSI now? Still now, I don't know which organization
WACSI without any kind of power. The attorney say WACSI no, you need you may call a juma. Yet, say because you only say and kabum a yepa. So we are juma poor. Sibia more than one, and I say, "Bia, what if we are 10, and I say, 5-member team as organization. Say you may cool be say, you know me, Juma, ye, but say, and cry, say, Bia, what sorry, say, Bia, oh, me pay, Sicabia if you was one with the Juma, and yes, I net here. The attorney say, ye, you may qua, ye bois, and you may qua, and shabanase. And he said, ya can't know, Dadano, yes, and you may cool. I share abanase NGOs. Aha, and the say be a one cast out to say be a open say, obey more if you was what dear. Yeah, mandate no, and I say, but time here, this, yeah, say WACSI no, as a Jumakuno, and it's a but I know, emfa, and then no, a bobra, the opposites, and the but I decide to say, boy, Jumaku, it is all your Jumaku, one hour shabanase, na kwenye bia bedaho, na personi Juma. Na everyone saying she share wo ho no e be a requirement obi obìnrin fence requirement ni be any say be a wa register wa ban mu aban ji wa tum say wo ye aban adumaku a won sha aban ase na obi bia e okay a ye no be aduma fe na wa fa won so afa won tum apa efra because enu anti na ye wo ho mo awun ti na ye wo ho no
that's it. I see Mr. Gideon the full question is mo sure the organization, but we trace back what by I will see you. Who is your manager? Who is your secretary? It's by name. See, that's why I may be said. Because who used to have a strategy organization? Still now it's the same person. Who is the deputy manager? Mara? Who is the secretary? Mara? Secretary? Mara? Organizer? Mara? See, I want to be, now why? Because see, when you made the image to me, like me. I said I have 0 organization and all the requirements you need. My proposals are perfect. But for you, you know, to be okay, let's do follow up. See that the organization
West Africa, Bebre or Honor, and they told the plan your friend or Kutoy Castle, your from briefcase NGOs, or a NGO, the Papa, give you out bag or the now. And then you would be. It's in here, yet says, you didn't I did back on the room. So what's in me? I register, or my own. Now I buy a Jiwatu, say I'm power NGO, and they are the back with it. The Atosumi say, who in penny for a year junior from a board, and the board of directors, in penny for any way on one, who penny for baby or more tower to include a chair, and also I gave up with behind. But say, if you are one, our year manager was also your communication, was also your board project. I'm not in penny in your corner, a starter for. I know who near more than say, I'm over fat in Coco Baby. No, will be a year. It's a baby now, no, a baby papa and family. And I'm really money. But, oh, yeah, as you cook, putting a buy a geomatoo. I'm crack a single, a basana, no, baby, Jumania, wow. Actually, quite a breakfast. Ubeti media for a day. Abetan, wash a shell, will you a corn, a man a sea, the council. But say a beshe, not say, and Chong Juan, we try a dear outro say, or more or only a DK. Yes, and our outro, not say be our registration no crime and no crime. While I wash a lap of peppy, now watch say your registration, and what dear. key documents, key BBA, and the end of the but the BBA that the person name one hour year, Jumani, and also some wire, my swim pie, a pass of wow. Now, here I shall say, they do answer with packing and also a BBA. Also, at least it will be a woman family a count now starts it. It's a bit training or pine out of faso a year organization.
So, you've been training when did you train people to know how to write their proposal, or did you support them as well, or you didn't? Unless me wasn't that, or the man making baby, I was about. But better from Roma, which we know I didn't put my assembly, you know. Yet it's been to show I am the more to Mozaba. And then them at the Bible card ever, not from Roma, which we know I won't back the quickest. I'm about one ganjo and one being with it.
It's your program, you training organization or kind of so a true proposal. I don't know, one more I said, you know, I started saying to one, you're better training. Name won't say the point to honor the proposal, but I am not proposal and no shedder in here. The here say, who and it has so, and it has been so good when you self as a wajuma guru, it's a demon. They say, you know, allow opinion, someone near the Juma. And until you say, propose I polish, maybe beer, or one more table for pana, and then or better trouble for Kama. Then so only a Jumako baby come on. Not and yet, but I am a person no one I'm more drink. It's no, yeah, shall propose an fair and a new year, Jumana, Elmo. But I see when you so it's a paper yet you so we are, you know, a call. Your friend, and I call more office near Castle no Macodinco. It was some crona, which one will propose and never my Busan pack, would see me, wouldn't your old ship near no betting into an
In the Yamon was West Africa Civic Society Institute, and when I believe I come of here, a good day about one to the women you know that a look up here, it is a story, the other Canadian go, yeah, they are over Hobima. Now, the last message is the one baby like Kafrat, because of the what is it? Remember, let's see this in terms of giving and giving out. You have talked about giving out body Gideon has also Nasi and Yeboah. We support people, You support in which way? Did they give them the items? Did you give them what they need, or you give them money? When they give them money, it will go okay for you to tell me here that we give them 1,000 Ghana cedis for a month, 1,000 Ghana cedis for which project or whatever, or.
Okay, so in terms of support, I think we look at the holistic form of support. So you're looking at the fact that if you provide capacity strengthening to organizations and they pick up that training that you've provided for them, and yet tomorrow they cannot still sustain their existence, it's still a challenge. So now we are looking at, in addition to the capacity strengthening, how do we also provide some support in terms of finances? I cannot give you specific figures again because it varies per organization, it varies per activity, it varies per geographic location, it varies with so many things. But we have gotten to understand that yes, the capacity strengthening is important, but at some point, the organizations also need to take care of themselves. We are providing capacity strengthening to individuals, but those individuals also need to be paid a salary to exist. Those individuals also need to have their basic working tools, laptops. Some organizations are not even able to afford laptops. There are some organizations that are doing very great initiatives. but for some reason they cannot complete these initiatives because of the lack or insufficient funding. So we also have initiatives like the match funding, where organizations are able to, based on what they've raised, then we top up or we match. So if an organization is able to raise 10,000 CDs for a project they're implementing, then we top up with another 10,000 CDs. And one of the things that we realized is when we talk about resources, most of the time, what we look at is the finances. So whenever we say organizations should come up with what they've been able to raise, you realize that most of them will come up with the financial aspect. But they forget to quantify some of the other resources that they have in forms of maybe labor and just some other assets that they have as organizations. So we usually encourage them to also quantify these assets and add. Because you realize that if I take, for example, if you're coming as an organization and you say you have 10,000 CDs available, we would top up with 10,000 CDs. But if you quantify the other assets, assuming that you're doing construction, you already have land, you already have doors, you have labor. When you quantify those already and add, you realize that it goes up maybe to 20,000 CDs. So when we'll be topping up with 20,000 CDs and not 10,000 CDs anymore. So we usually encourage organizations to consider not just the financial aspect, but the in-kind support that they can get. Because that's also assets. Those are also resources that we have, which we sometimes neglect or something.
CID. Okay, you might say, and create say if you can say Mekano, because say WACSI, and then creating a child from and see, you might be a create and into say there security issues and our legal issues there. Share beside that. The woman say, what's a you might be Nina is Cassam. And as organization, I boa afufro no. Yes, so edumiri ani enso yehiamwa. Yehiamwa in the form of sometimes it's not just finance, but ebia bibi fufuro bia we betimi da be so ya sen me so etimi edumadi na ye di no yetimi expand na obi bia so etimi nya hofa so no. Atola bia na ehwa den kakra. Na emum de omni se WACSI no yen no yeso ye de ehu sio ekere se e wose yenso ye adesuade ma afoforo na ye so masen no enti yankasa nso yenso ye use sa tools na ye de ma afoforo se omumfa mobilize resources and ase bia ometimi dia pe akade dia ye omadwuma no yenso ye de sa nimdie no yenso ye fa sa nimdie no nso ehwehwe akade na e wose me adwuma no tumpon no yenso yetimi fa sa nimdie no e de ye ya femu de so that be almost better no more than almost young because everything so better to oh you see now you see a wow na edipa no wo momu de oh yes aha nti yen ade aye ni say enema na ye ka kire omo so strategies ideas aye de mo nyina no yen so ye de bi adwuma ye de ni nyina aye adwuma ye wo ho adansede bebre nti say de wo kan no problems in it, but at every point in time, as organization, we are also well rooted in using our own tools to develop and move forward. Let me acquire him, send an American. That's it.
Well, we when I was in the future, Nancy, you should whether you can go to America and just send me a issue in the WACSI. You can just a story, or CCI, or no, the no claim, or last year, but as I said to
Oh, make I say a few children nearby. I know be in town. Some rail business are very essential. So, and they buy the revenue say in your mouth. The new stores. Postal TV and a big kind at say alumni or more my post school was central region. Senior high school, I was central region. They say, oh, many Ababayan penny for show omichi ebe boa central ebe C ICT dan fefe ema school omu ewo how kakra wo se de wo betse assembly eno ye ebe vie ba kuni ozemi eni iti ye ba ye so enema bebre wo ma ebe wo se e poswa eye mjisen ba ko ene efia yesi ama mofra omuni mpeja ama muni na enye fie keke na yesi ti se amount for orphanage yibi but Costa TV ebusu eboa etimi a cancel no a get support enya edan fefefe enkra no omo TV omo kitchen omo room ti se de obi an ne ba eti wo fie eno ye one energy sembia ye DJ pa se e koso na enye bubotom sika na hode ye utimi eka ensem no ma dana fo ene oma ko school for central region ase I from central region alumni foundation omo botom sika de etimi aboa some of free amomenya tra ye bia papa ebi ma start kura eco school na de na manager kura ne say almost so ye sa ade fefefe omo dream say e kweme ne be foso sa jumaye aleya ye da ya ye ebe jina ne na so na da ne de na mofra no mu hia bibia e na omo set up a bakery na me jina kwan yi so invite obi o central region bia central bia ne be bakery ye be lunch no mumbra mambe pechisi na o to be no eno so ye kwan ya so fa so a wode boa emofra Costa TV for afawo so mo ama omo efi nti ya beti eni December and idea my so ye nije say local philanthropy any concept I sure say I was say ye Ghana for yetimi bokwa ya no yetimi ma impuntuo ekoso ye ntwen ma afoforo mfiri amonone ana broni bi embra be ye impuntu juma ma ye ya be ye impuntu juma no Costa TV di ye juma ama tempa na happen
eba the nurses osana me so ko nti e bapuna bebe
Yes, sir.
chawati what will you say in terms of the success story 1 minute you are closing
Success story with respect to
respect of your organization since you started working with people.
Oh, okay. I am already a success story. But, which example can I use? I would have used the example of Costa TV, but I feel like that's what Nancy was talking about because I could hear some of the things she was saying, the bakery and the Central Alumni Foundation. But I think I can also use some other organization. And under this initiative, the Giving for Change initiative, there have been some really remarkable success stories that we've heard from the other organizations that we visited. We've seen how organizations have been able to engage with their communities and take care of their needs within the communities. We've seen how organizations have been able to engage with communities and create village savings and loans associations. I remember there was an organization that told us that they were able to engage with the community. They've created a village savings and loans association. And because of this, people are now able to take loans from this to take care of their own personal household needs. And as a result of this, other VSLAs have also been established. So out of the first one, 2 other VSLAs were established, which is actually helping the communities because initially they didn't have access to funds where they could take care of themselves or engage in some business activities and pay back. But now these communities are able to take loans from these VSLAs, do their businesses, and even repay the loans later. And apparently the interest rates are very affordable to them. So I think this is one of the success stories from this specific initiative under Giving for Change.
Right, that's better for you. Yeah, that's how many people in the same pay. If you're West Africa Civic Society Institute, West Africa Civic Society Institute. A better was a better. I had member last year, the mouse of Gideon, Nancy. A better was a papa than the overshadowing if you to know, yeah, what are you common. As far as the baby to this young, the mouse of the aquarium organizer. You may show a papa that was to do to also to the there will be a mission of papa by that sea. They offer rich as well as something you to me as to her. The mouse of it, I see you see, or you're already gifted, Jommy, a better as well, papa. Joe Boy, and Buddies, the corporation of papa that was so to know our problem, maybe a tuna akodo. Message Omar bin Abdallah. I am tuned for all the free, but I need to about the Abosun or your the more we are in one day, in one share, make us one.